Good morning. Call the meeting to order. Please, today is Tuesday. Everybody's phone off but mine. It is, we're here at the Civic Center for our maintenance building for our regular council meeting. We're going to stand for a moment of silence, followed by the pledge of allegiance. Thank you. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Mayor Cassidy.
Here.
Mr. Pollitt.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Ms. Call.
Here.
Mr. Key.
Here. Okay. We have two sets of minutes that are on our consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes by consent?
Make a motion we accept the minutes by consent.
Second.
Second. Is there anyone have any additions, corrections? All right. Let the record reflect 5-0. Moving on is citizens' comments. I think everyone knows the routine. Identify yourself. If you have an agenda item, please hold your comments to that time. If not, the floor is open for citizens' comments. Okay? No citizens' comments. Moving on. Next is a presentation by a credit card, what's his name? Philip. All right, we have I believe this is the company that does the St. Joe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Philip?
Where'd he go?
He's behind you.
Behind you, just laying on the way.
Oh, all right. Well, you can't, come on.
All right.
You're up.
My name is Philip Avery. I'm with a company called Ventec International. We're a manufacturer of automated fee machines. I know there's some pictures floating around. Yes, I put that one in Port St. Joe about a month ago. But that's what we do. We have 3 different markets, transit, park and rec, and then pretty much parking city ups. And this falls under the parking city ups for boat launches. Basically anything you wanted to collect fees for. And in this case, boat launch, parking, some people sell ice out of them as well. So anyhow, I've got a presentation that Miss Victoria sent. Victoria is the sales lady that you guys have been dealing with out of my office in California. No, I don't live in California, I live in Birmingham. I'm not one of the California people. Anyhow, just a little, real quick, it's going to be a brief overview of the company, the credit card machine, how it operates, the back end kind of thing. If there's any questions, just please, I'm sorry, I'm going to block everybody off. Just speak up and ask. I can answer pretty much most of the questions. I'm the technical guy that does a lot of the installs, a lot of the engineering. The price side of it is Victoria. I don't get into the pricing that much. But I do know how they work, how to make them work, how to customize the different features that we can offer. If you see something that you would like to see or want to know what the machine can do, please ask. There's not much that it can't do. Just to start, this is the one at Port St. Joe that's on the boat dock, just passed a little while ago. That is a credit card only machine. They do not take cash. The machines have the ability to take cash as well if you want it. Most people are getting away from taking cash. Just less of an option for somebody who want to break into the machine because it has no cash. It's just a credit card only. As soon as you swipe it, it goes up to the cloud and down to your bank account. So there's nothing stored on the machine, nothing in the machine. That's it in a nutshell. Agenda, we'll just go through everything. These are a couple of pictures. Red Rock out in Arizona, just to show you the extreme difference that they operate in. So a lot of heat, very dry. Dan, up in Colorado in the mountains where you rent inner tubes to slide down the mountain. History of Intech. Been around since the 50s. They actually started out in car parks where you used to put the quarter in and slide the little thing over. That's how they started. And they've evolved to what we are now, which is fully mechanical pay stations. They were the first to do electronic bill validation, use cellular connectivity for communications for credit card authorization. Because we're PCI DSS level certified and we're encrypted, we can get away with, we don't have to have a secured line. We can go over Wi-Fi, satellite, digital modem, pretty much any way to get a connectivity to the internet, we can go over because we're encrypted. As soon as you swipe the credit card number is encrypted before it even goes to the controller. We can't even see the number. The only thing that we can see are the first four or last four, just like anybody else. That's it. We were also the first ones, we're direct with the merchant acquirers, we're direct with Visa, we are direct with MasterCard, Discover, American Express. We're also the first one that put an EMV capable device out in the field. We do offer EMV. It's slower on transactions. EMV is the whole chip and pin based thing. Like when you go to Walmart or Home Depot, you got to stick the card in and leave it. It takes a few seconds longer. So instead of a second and a half on a swipe, you're looking at about 8 seconds on something like this in digital store. So it does slow down the transaction time. EMV also eats more data. So instead of this much data, you're using that much data. We were also the first bill dispensing pay station, and we also had the first mobile pay station, meaning a tablet with a meter maid printer where you can swipe credit cards. You can use that for environments to where, say like the Corps of Engineers does. They've got the fixed fee machines, but then they keep one of these mobile devices at their desk. That's the only way that you take credit cards in the office to sell their annual passes. And then if they do special events, they'll carry it out as long as they get a Wi-Fi connection. They can charge for whatever they want on it. Some of the customers we have, some of the partners that we have, Corps of Engineers, New York City Ferry. If you go to New York City and ride any of the ferries up there, you're pretty much buying your tickets out of our machines. It's the same guts that are in the machine down at Port St. Joe, just a few more bells and whistles up there, of course, for multi-language coins and that kind of thing, which they're not doing. We do a lot with national parks, Massachusetts, Army Corps of Engineers. Sorry, all those places. The Army Corps of Engineers right now is running like gangbusters. They get over 300 machines on order, and that's what I've been busy installing the last 2 months. It's going to take me another several months to get all those installed and for us to build them. We also do all New York State parks, all of their parks as well. We do trains like McBee up in Chicago, Ace Park out of Dallas in California. This is the bus line out of San Joaquin. But those are just some of the customers that we have up there. We'll jump to, she's focusing on Corps of Engineers. This is some of the Corps of Engineers that we've installed thus far. There's a lot more to come. Matter of fact, a couple of those over there I just got through installing that are on the to-do list. Ventec locations, everything is built in the United States in Petaluma, California. So they're U.S. built, U.S. made, U.S. assembled. We have an authorized factory service location, me in Birmingham, Boston, of course Vancouver, British Columbia, Denver. We've also got an office over in Australia. She doesn't have it up there because it's not really applicable here in the States. And then there's a few other smaller ones here where we've got some companies that we've partnered with. Solutions, pay stations. This machine is Lake Lanier. They wanted a drive-up style system, the side of a building. When you drive in, you pay while you drive up. This is Westgate in Las Vegas. As you can tell, they've adapted a room key reader for guests to be able to swipe and open the gate to get in and out of the parking lot. Not sure where that one is. Anyhow, that's at a park. And this one takes cash. Oh, this has got the E&B on it. That's why she had that on there. So the whole E&B credit card for the chip and pin. This is the mobile device I was telling you about. If you needed a mobile, so if you decided to do enforcement and you were out in a parking lot, yes, you can get the stream of data down from us. It would go to a handheld, and we've got the whole citation program. You could print out and just put a ticket on the car. So we have all that we offer as well. A lot of people like to crawl before they walk. They get the pay stations and they grow into it. Sitting down, parking pay station, revenue control pay stations, ticket vending machines, if you want to buy tickets out of them for, say, buses and trains. Automated feed machine, pretty much same thing. Mobile permitting. We also have online permitting for annual passes if you wanted to go that far. I'm not sure what you guys do for annual passes now, if you even have them. But we have the ability to do that online, where somebody could register with a license plate number, or the machine can actually dispense an annual pass card if you wanted to do that. If you didn't want to put annual pass cards in the machine, you could have those at City Hall or wherever. You could go buy your annual pass out of the machine like the Corps of Engineers does. You can buy the annual pass. The paper receipt's good for 10 days. You have 10 days to redeem it to get your actual card pass that's got a mag stripe on it. And you just swipe it like a credit card for the remainder of the year. For the next year, you go into City Hall, you just renew it. They just reload the card, basically. There you go for your annual pass again. Again, not sure if you guys do annual passes or not. I don't know. Just throw it out there so you know we have the capability. The system software, there is no software you have to load on a PC. It's all in the cloud. We call it Benview. Everything is hosted at Amazon. Just because our server room, we were going to have to add on the building, so we struck up a deal with Amazon, which is actually better. They got more bandwidth and they got multi-locations that they can back things up. So if one location burns down, you're not dead in the water. All these other locations can just pick it up and you don't miss a beat. So as long as you've got credentials to log into Benview, you can pull up and you can see what your machines look like. That is Benview. So that is Port St. Joe, actually. So if you notice, he's got one lot and he's got one pay station. And that is the actual pay station. It tells you the health and the status of the actual pay station. Tells you how many transactions they've done. Well, this was earlier. How much money they had done earlier. The heartbeat time, what version of firmware is on it, what model number it is. The machines are very smart. If they're low on paper or they're out of paper, they can email or SMS text however many or however few people you want and say, come help me. I'm low on paper, I'm out of paper, my credit card reader's not working, I'm out of power, I don't have any power, come check, help me out. So the machine will call for help. See something which says heartbeat. Every 60 minutes, the machine dials into my server if it's not used. When somebody swipes your credit card, it automatically establishes a connection with the server, so that's a heartbeat. If it's sitting idle overnight, so it's not being used, every 60 minutes it knocks on my server door and says, hey, I'm over here, I'm okay, just checking in, you got any downloads for me, anything? No, I'm gonna go back to sleep. If it misses 2 consecutive check-ins, it'll send you an order and say, hey, she didn't check in, you might want to go check it and make sure somebody didn't drag it off in the chain or something. It happens. So that, in essence, is Benview. This is also where you would run all your sales reporting. It'll hold 365 days of history. You can put your schedule in there up to 365 days in advance. If you want to change pricing and charge more on weekends, less during the week, you can set all that in here on a schedule, and the pay station just goes accordingly by date, by time, and whatever you want to charge. You can customize the receipts, customize the screen. you guys will have the ability to do that. We'll train you guys how to do it. So you don't have to depend on us. We don't charge you for us to go change your screens like some people do. You log in there, we'll teach you how to do it yourself. So whatever you want it to do, you just go in here and take care of it. And they'll do a detailed training and show you how to read all the reports, how to reconcile. Even have the ability to do credits if somebody accidentally charges their card twice. You could go in here, look it up, as long as they show you the receipt, it's got a transaction number on it. Go in there, find it. If you want to do a credit, do a partial credit. It's up to you guys. However you want to use it, there's like 300 some odd reports in here. There's over 300 alerts in here as well. So not everybody uses all of them, but they're there. So real quick, back to this. Some of the other things that we can do is I mentioned we could dispense the CR80 cards. We've got some customers like up in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Oklahoma for boat stickers. Annual passes for the boats, they dispense an actual sticker. Every year it's a different color. Go to the machine, you pay your $40 and you get your sticker, you slap it on the boat. They don't have to go to City Hall, the machine's dispensing it, they love it. That's how they want to do it. So when they're cruising through the parking lot, the little sticker will go on the boat trailer, the big sticker's on the boat. So they can drive through the parking lot and know, okay, you gotta pass this year, you're good, they don't get a ticket. You don't have one for this year, you don't have anything on the dash, you get a ticket. But it has the ability to do that as well. You're not going to do pre-encoded contactless RF cards. It could do that too, but you're not going to do that. That's more for transit. All forms of cash payment. I can take bills, I can take coins. I can give change, I cannot give change. I can do credit and debit. Now, I do debit if it's backed and it has the Visa logo on it. So you're not putting a PIN number in. It's just, you're swiping it just like your bank card, like Regions or what have you. As long as your debit card has the Visa logo on it, the machine will run it. It runs it through the Visa side. We are PCI certified, again. We can also do digital coupons, meaning if you did the annual passes, we have the ability to little credit cards with a mag stripe on the back with your logo on it. You could sell those, and they buy them once a year, they swipe them. If you didn't want to go that route and do the cards, you could just give them a 7-digit code that they go to the machine and punch in a 7-digit code. The downside of that, everybody shares a 7-digit code. So you don't want that floating right out there and everybody getting in free and parking free. Mentioned change dispensing. Yes, I can do escrow. Yes, I can do bill recycling. I do that at Jekyll Island. Remote rate management. Like I said, that's all set through VinView. You go to your desktop, you log in with your credentials. You want to change the rates, change the rates. Next time the heartbeat, it downloads it to the machine. You do not have to go to the machine to do that. You do not have to go to the machine at all in Port St. Joe's case because they're not taking cash. The only thing they have to go to it for is once a month to claim the credit card reader, and whenever it calls and says it's low on receipt tape. So far, they haven't run out of receipt tape. They're still on the original roll. But I talked to him this morning. They love it. He said the biggest advantage they have found is the speed at which people can go up instead of having to tear the envelope and write everything on it and do all this. He said it took too long. People just didn't want to hassle with it. Plus, how many people have cash anymore? I know I never do. But you got a card. But he said with the card, they walked up, within a couple of seconds, they got a receipt, it's on the dash, I put the boat in the water. He said he's not had one person complain about them not taking cash anymore. So they went cold turkey from cash to credit. And he said so far it's been a big hit. Again, special events, if you wanted to put that in there, you could change that. I can do AC power. I can do solar. I've got a lot of machines running on solar. Only downside of the solar is if you were up north, you can't have a heater on it. That is a thermal printer, and that is an LCD screen. So when it gets really, really cold outside, they do run a little slower. But down here, you're not going to have that issue. It doesn't get that awful cold down here. And I can also do solar AC hybrid. In your environment down here, the solar would work great. AC is always the best way to go. Easily installed, maintained, and operated, yes. We will train you guys how to do the basic maintenance on the machine. Port St. Joe, again, the first week it was in, about 3 days into it, the credit card reader went out. It's like with anything electronic, if it's going to break, it's going to break when it's new. Credit card reader went out. He had bought a spare one. His staff swapped it out, and they were back up in less than half an hour. Once you know what you're doing, you can change those out in 10 minutes. But they had no problem since. That was just a one-off. But we'll show you guys how to maintain it. And then we also, if you need us, you call us. We'll support you by phone. If you need to get a part, we'll overnight a part out. We have a lady that manages that and does a very good job. Her name is Janet. The box is a lot bigger than it needs to be. There's not much on the inside of the box. I got another picture I'll show you. But it's very simple, very easy to swap everything out. It was designed that way on purpose. To ATM style, customers are used to that, dealing with ATM, so it's very intuitive and user friendly. You have 4 pixel screens. The new stuff for Transit is all Android based, so it's all color touchscreen. You've got a lot more capability with that, but again, that's geared toward Transit for basic boat launches and things like that. Higher visibility, this holds up better outdoors. The touchscreen is on salt air. Not too sure about that yet. The one at Jekyll lasted about a year, and the bottom quarter of the panel went out. I had to swap it out. That's a total loop actually, but it's still in salt air. But they're buttons. That's not a touch screen. It's monochrome display, highly visible. It is also lit at night. Keyboard is not, but the display is.
What does it cost?
I'm
What does
sorry.
it cost?
Oh, the cost?
Yeah.
Victoria sent you a quote? She
I
said
don't
she
know.
sent you guys a quote.
Is it a purchase, just normal purchase of the equipment by the city, or is it some kind of long-term?
Yeah, no, it's a purchase. You're purchasing the equipment.
Okay.
And then the only thing that you're paying is once, she said she sent you guys a quote.
She did.
Okay.
Okay, well, we can get that.
So she's got that. I don't have that. I'm sorry. She said you had it, and she sent me a presentation. So I assume you guys had it in here. But no, you buy the machine, you buy everything, and then the only thing is there's for the online fees, the online credit card processing and everything, there's an annual fee for that, and it's unlimited credit card usage. So it's not a certain so many cents on a credit card transaction.
Can we get that, once we get the quote and we have that to look at, and then we can get back? I mean, with due respect, I'm trying to move us along here. I think
okay.
I think we
Got it.
understand
Okay.
we understand what it does.
Okay. Well, passes, card description, the stickers I was talking about, handheld, all in the cloud. You saw I already mentioned all that. Already showed you that. Talked about that. We already talked about that. Site prep, when it comes down to time to put it in, I just need like a 3x3 pad, about 8 inches thick. That's it. If you're going to bring power up, you can bring the conduit. 9.5 square for the bolt mount. That's the inside of the box. You can see there's not much in there. Easy to maintain, and that's it. Any questions? Sorry. Any questions? Yes, no, and you do have a copy of the quote you can share with everybody?
Yes, we do have a copy of the quote.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, because I don't know what she quoted you, I'm sorry. I do know that she did quote you bills and credit cards, and I do know that if you take the bills off, that saves you about $1,500, $1,700 roughly, if you decide to go credit card only.
Yeah, she gave us a bunch of different options,
Okay.
as well as credit and
Got it.
cash, and dispensing the stickers and for the annual passes and
Right.
different things like
When
that.
we put out an RFQ for such machine, which that's what it would require, then we can,
Yes, sir.
y'all can respond to that, and thank you
Yes,
for
No problem. Sorry to be long-winded. I didn't realize I was. Thank you.
Can I just?
Yeah, sure, you're-
I like Mike, that Mike Guy, Game Over, and let him, he's the one that got me hooked on this machine here. And tell him what the man of Fort St. Joe told you about how good the machine was.
Okay, so my name is Mike. I'm a lieutenant for Gulf County, and we cover Mexico Beach just because of being out of mainstream Bay County. My opinions or comments are strictly professional, and I am certainly not trying to sell the city any vending machine or anything like that. I'm just giving comments based on what I hear. I spend a lot of time at boat ramps, a lot of time around the recreational, boating traffic. Any of the ramps that are really high congestion, which Mexico Beach has a tendency to be certain times of year, just as St. Joe during scallop season, are going to that. We see them throughout the state popping up. I've been from Gainesville area to Okaloosa County, and in the last 5 years, they're beginning to pop up pretty regular. I have not heard one negative comment about the one in St. Joe since it went in. They had headaches for years with filling out the papers, especially during rainstorms when it's wet. It was just a bogging situation for city staff, and since they've moved to that, the city seems to love it. The boating public wished it had occurred 5 years ago. It speeds it up. It reduces conflicts at the ramp. When people come in, they drop their spouse off or a buddy to go pay while they launch the boat, and it speeds things up, and it quits all the horn blowing and yelling back and forth about, they're taking too much time with people that are not familiar with the process. So I would be for it as far as professional wise. It would speed things up and reduce issues that we have to deal with at the ramp. There is a question that for the rep that a lot of them have asked me, and I guess the boating public assumes that Fish and Wildlife is in charge of these machines when we're sitting at the ramp doing reports or launching a boat, when in fact it's the city, local government that's in charge of them, but they don't, they obviously don't know that.
Right.
Do the machines currently have a projected ability to do Apple Pay or Google Pay? Where it reduces
If you guys decide to go with EMV, yes, they would. But then right now with EMV, there's still the banks and everybody are still trying to get set for these type of machines and the gas pumps, which is what these fall under, the same as gas pumps. You're limited to one or two merchants, and I'm not sure what merchant you guys use, but we would have to look and see if your merchant's one of them that would allow it. If they aren't, then yes, the EMV would allow you to have Google Pay, Apple Pay.
And the reason I ask that is I'm not affiliated with the city. I'm about to be a resident of the city. I don't own a recreational vessel, so I make that disclosure that the fees could likely not even apply to me, so I'm not in here for personal reasons. But the older generations are cash. The latest generations are cash card.
Right.
The newest generations that are just now becoming members of the boating public are wanting to go strictly wireless, the most latest electronic abilities, and that allows you to store your financial data on your phone and not have a
Right.
wallet with you when you're getting in your vessel to lose. And they scan their phone at the device, and then it makes payment, and they're done. That's the only reason I ask, because I have a lot of them asking me at the ramp, and I don't have an answer for them. I don't have anything to do with the machine.
Right.
But it does speed up the launching and loading portion of it. I do notice that. In this circuit, with the exception of Bay County, the only vendor that I know of, or the only city government that I know of that has one, is St. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone who has launched, that has launched there previously under the old system, has praised it. And that's simply the only reason that I'm here.
If you were down for the South, Pasco uses them on all their boat ramps too.
Any of the ramps that are high congestion, such as a county seat ramp, Mexico Beach, I would venture to say at some point it would be a favored addition to Indian Pass. Anytime you have those seasonal, fluctuations in boating congestion, launching out for reef fish season, launching out for scallop season, I'm not seeing them anywhere but those main high congestion ramps.
Yeah.
Thank you. I do. Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it. As I said, if the council decides we put out an RFQ, that's a requirement, we'll get information in. If there's others that want to give us some information, then that'll get the time to be available. Thank you for your presentation. We have all shown some interest in this, and we'll see where we go with that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jared.
Very much.
All right, moving on to financial reports.
Debbie? Get there, Debbie. I passed out the schedule for fiscal year 2022, and I also passed out your quarterly financial report.
Okay. I know the last meeting, we were going to review this again because everybody didn't have them in front of them. So I figured I would go with the schedule first for the fiscal year 22 budget. As everyone knows, you have that requirement by the state that you have these meetings certain times, certain days, within certain periods after each meeting. So this is the tentative one I've created. If there's any questions or concerns, or if there's anything that you want to discuss in detail, just let me know. Otherwise, we're going to try to stick to this calendar and then be able to have all of those requirements by the state met based on these dates.
And Debbie, just to clarify, they're looking at this. The Tuesday meetings fall in conjunction with the city council meeting. The Wednesday meetings fall in between those Tuesday meetings. So it's once we get into July, it's almost an every week type meeting. So I just wanted to give the council a heads up that that schedule is meeting once a week for the month of July, and then the first week of August.
The budget workshops we have some flexibility with those dates. It's when we get into the August, September that those dates start ticking with 55 days in between the meeting and adoption. So if we wanted to adjust those dates in July, we could talk about that. But everything past that in August, September is kind of within a day or two requirements.
Okay.
Okay. Did you want me to actually go through this report again, since everybody has a copy of it, or
Yes.
just a highlight?
Just the highlights on we did hear your presentation, but we didn't have, or hadn't had a chance at that time to have it in front of us. So I think the highlights would be all that we need.
Okay, perfect. So, this as far as the summary goes, as the revenues and the expenditures. The regular revenues and expenditures were in a pretty good place. We've kind of exceeded the property tax receipts in this year versus last year. And then the expenses are kind of holding steady with the historical numbers. The numbers look really out of whack with those millions of dollars because prior to the auditors completing fiscal year 19 audit, there was all the FEMA money and expenditures were all in the general fund. I'm reallocating all of those to a separate fund. So those numbers are going to start ticking down on these reports. It's just because I'm reallocating those expenses out of the general fund into its own fund. As far as the cash goes, the page that shows all of the different full cash accounts, the water, sewer, and sanitation, and all those. Those are all steady. The biggest difference between this report and where we are with next month, there's $145,000 collected in revenue from the general fund. The printing of this report and April's closing. So, like I mentioned earlier, the property tax receipts are down this time of year just because they're received mostly in December, January, February timeframe. I did do some analyticals just so you can see in the graph presentation how we are as far as the different types of revenues and expenditures. So that's just kind of for visual representation. And then if you go to the cash receipt trend, the biggest one I would want to point out is the looks like we have a lot, $8 million, but a lot of that is kind of a pass-through because we're getting reimbursed for FEMA funds or FEMA expenditures. Again, that number is going to change and evolve once all the FEMA funds are separated into their own funds. And then on the FEMA project, that's just a summarization of all the projects that are ongoing that we're tracking the growth list. The beginning of the budget, what activity we've done and where we are. That's constantly being changed as Mary goes through and pays invoices for receiving money. And then on the audit recommendations, these are ongoing requirements that the auditor has recommended in their fiscal year 19 audit. We have made some internal adjustments or review for the internal control policies. Creating a process to give the Mario to either approve or if he wants to do a formal or we need to adopt something formal. That's a requirement for them. Building revenues and expenditures, the building department, that's something that is just going to be incorporated into a new budget. So you'll see that from the fiscal 22 budget. And hopefully, in 2020, this list will go down just because of some changes that were made. And then fiscal year 2021, we should have a lot less findings in the audit. And speaking of the audit, I did speak to the auditors yesterday. They'll be starting to audit for fiscal year 2020 at the end of the month. So we'll have another audit process, and then hopefully at the end of this year, we'll start with 2021 and we'll be caught up with our audit. On the last page is the financial package. Basically, these are still ongoing, still going forward. I'm working on the budget document for 2022 to give to Mario so we can have internal meetings to discuss. Getting all of the fiscal year 20 audit paperwork together. That's a really large undertaking just because of the lack of reviews that occurred over the prior 12 months, at the end of 19 and 20, there was not a whole lot of reviews. And so that's all the audit review is going to be occurring within the next 3 weeks internally, and then we'll hand it off to the auditors. Any questions about the reports or the calendar?
Hey Debbie, can you hear me?
Yes.
On page 2 of your report, you show 2,983,000. Is that a DR4 number? Did that come from the DR4?
So which one?
On page 2, or back of page 1, it's not numbered, but where it shows the resources and expenditures. Under budget, under taxes, you have 2,983,673.
Right.
Is that a DR4 number? Did that come from the county?
No, that is the budget that was adopted last year from the budget. So 2,726,000 of that total is for your property taxes, and that would come from that.
Okay. All right, so where I'm going with that is, can you tell me how delinquent are we in collecting ad valorem taxes?
We are $317,000 off from our budgeted amount to what we collected.
217,000.
317,000.
Right, 300.
317. So does that mean that they were probably then passed on as tax certificates? How do we know that?
What number we have? We're using this revenue in July to true that up, and so I would say after July 16th, that'll give us a better picture of where we are in actual collections.
Okay. So we're 317,000 short of ad valorem tax of what the DR4 said.
Right.
Did everyone? Excuse me. Go ahead.
From the county.
Well, this year's DR4 has been sent out.
Right.
Okay. 317. All right. That's my only question. Thank you. Is it other questions on the financials? And on reconciliation, where are you? How far along?
Oh, we are in October. We're in the first of the year.
We're in October of 20?
Yes. Which this is speed up. The bank reconciliation speed up in the current year, just because there's no going back, trying to recalculate it with elections.
Okay. All right, any other questions? Debbie, thank you.
I think you.
Mario, on this budget schedule, workshop schedule, I mean, for the budget, is it, if everybody, we'll just do it after the meeting? Is that when we'll have?
Yes, sir.
On the
Yeah,
Tuesdays?
on the Tuesdays, we'll just, as soon as our meeting ends, we'll just
Right,
jump
we'll
into
go.
workshops.
Okay, that's what. All right, Sandy?
Morning, everybody. Nothing specifically new fire department wise. The pole barn finally got a concrete basing. That'll be able to be used now by both us and Public Works once we've done the groundwork around it, which we will be ordering some fill for that in the next week or so. Continuing with maintenance with our water systems and getting our certificates in place for things like our ladder testing, which I'm doing this weekend with the aid of our neighbours next door. They have a ladder testing equipment coming to Port St. Joe, so we're going to get our ladders tested alongside theirs to get that back in line where it should be. So it's really a case of keeping everything going, getting all the maintenance done, and making sure we have all our certificates in place for ISO. If anybody has any questions, happy to answer.
Questions for fire? Sandy, thank you very much. Marty?
Been a busy weekend with Memorial Day weekend and everything, but we still kind of held it together. But for the month of May, we had 210 calls for service, 54 traffic stops, 11,403 miles patrolled, 5 citations, 39 warnings, and 1 arrest, 5 accidents.
The weekend seemed went very, I heard nothing but,
It went good.
I didn't hear any adverse anything about anything going on in our city.
I did beach patrol down there one day myself and everything, and everybody was,
Did it go smooth?
everything was smooth.
Awesome. Boat ride was good.
I rode with him one day too, so it's interesting to ride with him one day. Everybody needs to ride with him.
All right, questions? Okay. Gina?
Had a little bit, it's been a little slow last couple of weeks. We did four new residential structures and 2 remodels since last meeting, so a little bit of a slowdown. That's about it.
Question for Bill? We usually do.
She's smiling.
She is.
We're gonna let her go.
All
That's
right.
all right. Appreciate
All right, Kathy?
Yes, sir. Last Friday was our first day of snapper season. We started our work at about 4 o'clock in the morning. Sandy and his kids and Jerry were out there. And some of our volunteers, we had Bubba and we had Quinn. They all brought their golf carts and helped escort the boaters back and forth. On Saturday, we started again at 4 in the morning. Sandy or his kids were out there helping us. I mean, everybody was just, even the EMS guy was down there helping people who were single person voters, helping tie up the boats, and it just worked out fantastic. Everybody was just hands-on. We had people bringing us donuts, Diane and Clinton and Bubba. They all brought their own golf carts and donuts, and everybody just helped out. And for the 2 days, we made a little over $1,700 in boat launch and annual permits.
Wow, pretty good. Awesome.
And then we have a demo going on up here on Highway 98, 2704. So that should be down.
I'll see that.
What is that? Yeah, okay. Good.
All right, any questions for code? Okay. Only question I have, which is coming up, an ordinance that handles a special master, does that put us in line then to proceed on with those that are like sort of over in the holding pen, waiting to move forward?
I'm comfortable with
proceed now. You and I talked briefly about that little detail of the special master contract, getting that in place.
Okay, well, that's
It's
fine,
all
I mean, that's, okay. All right, so, you know how to,
Probably not, but I guess I'll figure it
we'll
out.
figure it out how to get, somebody's gotta help us get that process
Yeah.
fluid, I guess. Okay. All right. Tommy?
Good morning, council. I apologize for not having a handout. Server's down. I couldn't print out the job list sheets for today, but I'll go over quickly some of the things that we've accomplished. First off, some of the council had asked for an update on our street signs. I called this morning, Bunkin Signs, and they said they will be ready July 9th.
Thank you.
Less than a month. We should have our street signs.
We're gonna write that on our calendar then.
As soon as those signs get here, I will devote the entire staff to get them up just as quick as we can. Long time waiting. I know everybody's looking forward to getting our signs put back up.
They're gonna have the El Governor over before we get to you.
I agree with you. We're gonna get them later.
I hear you. We pulling for you, believe me.
Yeah. Also wanted to thank the public works staff. We had snapper season coming up. We found out right before snapper season that they were fixing to get started on the pavilion and all, bathroom down at the boat ramp. So we had to move the fish cooler and the cleaning table. These guys done it in a couple of days. We got all that moved, everything set back up and hooked up so we could make it for snapper season. Some hard work, and this weekend cleaning that thing. Those guys have done a tremendous job. That cooler was completely full of fish on Saturday, Friday, and Saturday, and Sunday. So yeah, they've done a good job. The road department's done a couple of stormwater projects since the last meeting. Give you an update on the dredging. We dredge 2 days a week now because of turtle season. Troy and Nick were able Friday to dredge the sandbar across, so we've got that opened up now, so we shouldn't have any problems. West side still looks good. Even down to 2 days, we're still able to maintain that with no issues. So I think all the boaters are satisfied with that. Patching potholes throughout the city, trying to get some of those caught up. Cutting grass as usual, summer's here. Sanitation department, want to let everybody know for the month of May, we had 172,450 pounds of garbage that was taken to Steel Field. And also we got one of our workers back, Shannon Pressman, who's been off for 2 months with his foot. He's back to work, started yesterday, so good to have Shannon back. Other than that, Mayor, everything's clicking along.
Awesome. City looks great.
I have a question. At the end of Georgia, curves around, goes to Robin Lane. The canal runs through there. Okay. There's like doors that open up right there. It's a concrete pad there.
I know exactly what you're
Okay.
talking
And there's a cable running through.
Mhm.
There used to be a lock on there, and there's not a lock on there anymore.
about. Somebody took the lock off.
I don't know.
We will get a lock back on there.
Okay.
That is supposed to be locked off. That's actually where the storm water comes under the Maryland Parkway and goes into the system there. There's kind of screens in there, filter white screens, and all that is supposed to be locked because that is a hazard to a child or anybody else could fall down it. I'll make sure today that is locked back
All right.
up.
Thank you.
Other questions, comments for? Thank you, Tom. David?
Yes, sir. Sunset Park, we have a bid set prepared. We sent the advertisement to the city for dates to put into the paper to advertise. I believe Mario indicated end of July is when we're going to have the bids come in. The dates. So we are still in the FDEP review period, but within that time we should have a response and have that worked out. I suspect they're going to come back with they're going to send us to the FWC, and we're going to have to work out the lighting for the sea turtles, how we had to do it with the Canal Park Pavilion. But it's just procedure. We should be looking good.
That's the only permit we don't have.
FDEP. Well, we have FDOT, approval to the JPA.
Right, we've had that.
Yeah, we got that. We recently got that. The FEP will be the other one. And then I'll have to file for a 10-2 with the Water Management District, but that's a day or two procedure.
Okay.
The 15th Street blocks culvert, those plans are out for bid. I believe those are due back first week of July. Okay. And then the boat ramp extension, I sent a draft copy over to Mario and Tommy last week. They made a couple of revisions I've sent back, so there should be a set for you guys to review. And we should, we'll contact, I think, figure out how to get the construction funding for it and get that ready for bid as well.
So we heard from Nicole?
They're still in review. Yeah. We just sent the construction plans back to them. They had an REI for a full set. So.
Okay. So have we cleared the hurdle on Sunset Park about the coastal construction line?
We're in review.
So we haven't cleared anything?
Well, we sent them a preliminary plan last year before we got into full design, and so we got their comments. So what we get back from them should be minimal. Like I said, it should just be back to the FWC for the sea turtle lighting.
I'm gonna get my bathroom fixed over there before you get your Sunset Park.
Okay, that may well happen. That may well happen.
You said the governor go open up before Tommy got a street sign. I'm gonna have my bathroom.
No, I'm gonna get the street sign.
So, now there you it's just, I don't.
Any questions on from Blueberry? Not picking, just.
No, I
just, I mean, I keep thinking, I'm sure if you had had the core permit, you would have said that first, so I should have known we did that. All right, thank you. There you are, Ryan. I knew you were somewhere.
Yep, I'm here. So top of our list this week, good little success. We've been talking about the HMGP applications for a long time. They got put in a long time ago. I think I've often said they're the slowest set. We finally got our first approval from FEMA on those applications, and that one was for the stormwater project, which is for $10 million. So I'm hoping, in the next couple months they kind of release those as they get them approved. But the first one coming through means that hopefully the other one should be coming through in the next couple weeks, months, that sort of thing. And we'll be getting more positive news on that. We've heard that our applications were looking good, so feel fairly confident on those. On the public assistance stuff, I mentioned last time we had just received the $8 million advance for the right-of-way debris, and over the last month we've been working to get those paid out to KK Storm, so that was a big accomplishment. Getting that done, it was a lot of work trying to dig in and make sure we had all of our I's dotted and T's crossed. That was solid, and we also had two recent project obligations, one for a Category B project and one for the PBDR. That totaled around $1 million. So you'll see at the bottom we ticked up about $1 million, which is a good showing for a month, generally on the obligated amount. On the jetty project, we're working. I think I mentioned this last time that we were setting up to start working on this. But we're working on benefit cost analysis to try to include some of the mitigation components into the overall project scope and cost. We're working with David Ridley MRD on trying to get that set up at this point. On the pier project, we've been going back and forth with FEMA, and just yesterday we had a good meeting. I think we convinced FEMA of a lot of the things that we were trying to convince them of on that project. There's still a little bit of work where we have to provide some justification on deck elevation, but our engineering design team at BDI, they feel like they can definitely get the justification, and they felt confident after hearing what FEMA had to say yesterday that they could provide what was needed. So feel good about that project. had some success. We're not all the way there, obviously, or anything like that, but we took some good steps yesterday. On the municipal complex, we also had a discussion with them yesterday on that. That one was a little bit tougher and has continued to be challenging for us. We're still arguing with FEMA about several elements that are not related to the structure, but related to like the parking and stormwater, about what we should include on those. So we, in the end, I think we took a step forward. It's a baby step, but still some work to do on that one, admittedly. Just a couple other notes to keep you guys in the loop on where we're going and what we're working on. We had an RFI on the donated resources project from FEMA that we responded to. That one seems to be moving pretty smoothly. The RFI questions were not too crazy, and so I'm hopeful that we'll just have the one round of RFIs on that and they'll move it forward. We're also I started some preliminary conversations with KPMG, which is the state contractor who's helping them do their closeout work. And we're going to start looking at trying to close out several of the earlier projects, which is good. Basically, that just means we're closing the books on them, getting everything finalized, and then FEMA can kind of, wipe the slate. They don't worry about that project anymore. It's no longer in the system. So these are just kind of like the final tying those around projects, and it'll be good to have those starting to come off of the books overall. As I noted, we ticked up about $1 million in the obligated amount from last month, and in the paid amount we popped up just a couple $100,000, but we'll keep working obviously on reimbursements and getting advances through and all that. So that's my update. Any questions? Be happy to answer.
Mayor, we did receive a notice from LMS Long Range Mitigation Strategies that we did get approved for the lock on Canal Parkway. That's a big chunk of money. It's not saying that they'll approve the overall project, but kicking us off into the design mode. And that is something that is a much slower process. These are mitigation dollars, and it's a step forward. And it's one of the first municipalities that are getting access to that money, so it's good news.
Questions for Ryan or Atkins? It does appear that even though if we continue to get close to 3 years, we're going to be in the $200 million range without question from FEMA. If you look at obligated, paid amount, and some of the projects outstanding.
We'll probably be in $100 million.
I mean, $100 million.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So $100 million range.
Yeah, for sure.
When we talked about
I feel very confident about $100 million.
Yeah.
It'll be great if we can top it up even 110, 120. That'd be the ideal world.
They'll build that pier, we'll get it up.
Yeah, that will definitely help for sure.
Concrete pier.
That's right. Concrete pier.
We made a leap into concrete yesterday. I mean, yesterday's conversation kept bouncing off of wood, off of wood, off of wood, off of wood. And they finally agreed to the concrete, and then we argued about the height, the old height, and basically what the engineers were saying is if you build it at the lower height, the wave action makes the structure so much stronger that it's cheaper to build the darn thing further up where it's not hitting the wave. So again, to give kudos to all the engineers involved, including Florida Department of Environmental Protections. They were on the call telling us what codes we have to follow and the reasons for it. It was a huge team effort yesterday, and we got the ball right there close to the finish line. We're not there, but we can see the light now. Where before yesterday's meeting, we were a little afraid.
Ryan, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to move to our regular agenda items. The first one is 103 34th Street. We're going to open a public hearing.
Mayor, if I may, planning board, because we met yesterday, we really couldn't put notes on the meeting for here, but that item was tabled. Their layout was found to be insufficient for parking, so instead of making a motion denying or approving, they just tabled it to give the applicant the ability to revise the drawings and not have to pay additional fees.
Yeah, and the recommendation in your board package was contingent on several different items
Yeah,
being addressed.
I see that.
You may want to consider waiting and seeing what happens at the planning board.
So we want to table that until planning and zoning? They're going back to planning and zoning? Council, may I have a motion to table?
Make a motion we table. 103 34th Street.
All right, we got a motion second. Any opposition? All right, we will let the record show we tabling that until such time as we have something for planning and zoning. So when it says approval contingent upon, that's technically incorrect.
Keep in mind, that's the best information we had on Friday, which was before the planning board meeting, which was
Okay,
yesterday.
all right, so they are waiting, P&Z, they know the applicant's going back to them.
Yes, sir. That was the direction they gave yesterday.
Gotcha. That's, all right, so then, Julie, y'all got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, number 2, subdivision, plat request, 102 42nd Street. We will open a public hearing for those commenting on that. Is there anyone here to comment? Although, just again, normally, I think we all understand what it is, but do you have any, for the record, you want to preface that? If not, we'll just go to the hearing.
For the record, it's 101, not 102. You said 102, 47.
Oh, did I? It's 101. Thank you.
Let me prompt the discussion. I didn't go look at the site, so only what was in the packet. It appears that this is a already constructed building, and their goal is to switch from long-term rentals to selling off individual units. And to sell these individual units, they need to have a subdivision plan approved, otherwise they're not allowed to sell off pieces of the property. I assume that these lines on the subdivision plat match up where the party walls are inside the building. That looks like the purpose of
I
this.
think we're going to find that out here in just a minute. Yes. Come on.
Jason Adams, I'm the owner of Ocean Breeze Cottages. Me and my wife are. Not just me. Basically, this project was approved back in 18. When the project was done, it was done under the LDR residential guidelines for building multifamily and tourist commercial or general commercial. The density was 18 units per acre, which resulted in the 8 units. All the setbacks were met. Basically, when we did the project, we knew at some point we would want to sell them individually. And that day is not here yet, but there were some things that had popped up that if we did want to sell, we were told that we needed to bring it back to the council and actually get a certified plat of the project. So we're doing that now. When the project was done a year ago, it's been finished a year. You know, we had a survey done, we had legals written, that was turned into the city at the time, an as-built survey. So what I've done in the last couple months, or had to do, is I've basically had, just sent it back to the surveyors to put it in plat formation. But yeah, all the party walls are, there. There'll be attachment easements if they're sold off individually, as it says in the LDR. I mean, everything is was done in the beginning to follow guidelines. It's just like it was. The plat is just like it sits now. So that's where we're at. Any questions or anything? Or just kind of a formality thing, from what I can tell.
Any questions? Still in the public hearing mode? So these are, I want to ask, are they being reassigned to the original plat? other than, this survey shows lot block, but there's a duplex on it, correct?
Yeah, there's four, they were built into four duplex forms, 8 units. There was originally, there's 3 platted lots years ago. I mean, it was, when the hotel was there, it was all condensed into one parcel, and then we went in there and developed it. And, we followed all the residential, they've, not to go into too much more detail, I was required to, they all have individual addresses. I went to Bay County when I built them. They've all got individual water meters, taps, everything. They're individually their own.
Oh, but do they have a party wall? Is that part of it?
Yes.
Okay. That's what.
Yeah, the attachment easement will be the party wall. We drew one up. There's been one turned in, a sketch copy, but you really don't file that until you sell the unit. And Charles is the one that handles all that.
All right, so there's a request for the, to subdivide that plat, or do a plat revision, I guess. Before we close the public hearing, any other comments from the public? Anyone else here to speak? All right, we'll move to the table, close the public hearing. Questions from the council? Or motion?
Mayor, I do have one comment. We have our process of a preliminary plat, development order, final plat. This is an unusual case where everything's already constructed. You may want to give some thought to how to approach that. The reason for doing preliminary and final plat approval will be just more notice and process for the public if they want to participate, but otherwise, it's all done.
Okay, I totally agree. It is done and it meets the requirements. In a way, it is somewhat of a formality, other than it just needs to be on the record that council gave approval for that.
Yes.
Or in my mind, that's the way I see it.
And if you intend your approval today to be the final approval, make that clear in your motion.
Yes.
We didn't anticipate something like this would ever happen in our process when we wrote it, but things happen.
All right. Again, questions or motion?
Okay, Jason,
Yes.
when you go to sell these,
Mm-hmm.
are you gonna have to resurvey and break down every parcel to a lot?
No, that's what that is that you see on the plat. That will be, I had already had it surveyed when I finished it.
Right.
And then I had to transfer that into a plat format because y'all have sent a letter to Bay County that there's no division of lots without council approval. So once that plat is submitted to Bay County, that is the parcel. So I wouldn't, when I sell them, they already have legal descriptions with a party wall agreement attached to easement. That would be.
Because of the townhouse stuff we've already done.
Yes, and it was already written in the LDRs that if you built multifamily and tourist commercial, general commercial, that you had to follow certain guidelines.
Okay.
I'd also request that if you have a motion to approve, make it contingent on staff and legal review of the plat. Trying to review this, but need a full-size one to look at a little closer.
Okay. Where's Jada? That's you. Anyway.
Yeah, I had turned in the plat to Nick several weeks, for review. I didn't know. I figured everybody not reviewed it.
I'm sure the staff has it.
Okay.
It's probably fine. I just want to be able to look at it a little closer.
So we would just want to make a motion, if the motion is forthcoming, that it would include that this is a final plat review acceptance. Because like you said, it's there. So we've done.
You said make it subject to what?
Staff and legal review. So the truth is, when I saw this, I was thinking, oh, this is a preliminary plat. This is early. We'll do the more detailed review later. And it was only this morning I realized this is all constructed already. There was a development order previously. There's building permits. It's there. So just at a glance, the plat looks like it's professionally prepared. Looks like a good quality plat. But I just want to review it and make sure there aren't any little details that are off. But I'm fine if you want to go ahead and approve it today.
Is there more, all I know to do is, again, is there a question, comment, or motion?
So in the motion, I just need to say, I make a motion that we approve the replat of Ocean Breeze subdivision.
It's a final approval of the plat, subject to staff and legal review.
With final approval of the plat, subject to staff review.
And I can do that after the meeting.
Because it's small. Okay. So there's a motion.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. All right, number 3. Who's leading this?
I guess that's me. This is.
Yes.
We brought this for discussion with P&Z last night. We have someone at 206 Virginia that would like to put an accessory dwelling unit within her new house that she'll be building. The LDR requirements for an accessory dwelling unit state that you have to meet current density. So in general residential, that would be you need two lots in order to do that. And my question to P&Z last night, and it's probably a question for Nick, is, she currently has 175 by 112 feet or something lot. So she couldn't build 2 units. I was under the impression that the purpose for accessory dwelling units was to allow people to build a mother-in-law type of situation within their home if they didn't meet density. But that's not the way the rules are written, and maybe that is not the intent at all. This lady has submitted for a variance. She didn't make it for this meeting, but she will be on the agenda for next meeting if that is what she actually desires to do. But I wanted some clarification on the rules and what the intent when the rules were written.
Well, I was looking at this a little bit before the meeting, just kind of guessing what the conversation might be. We have a definition of single-family dwelling in our land development code. It says structure containing one dwelling unit and not attached to any other dwelling unit by any means. And then it continues, a single-family unit may contain an accessory apartment pursuant to this code. That suggests that you just treat it as one unit for density. Where's the other rule that you were saying?
It's under accessory dwelling unit. There's a section in the LDR, and in that section it says that you're allowed an accessory dwelling unit in general residential if you meet density. So it seems like
Detached?
No,
These are all
not detached. Attached. Within the same roof structure. So the downstairs of a house on Collins, or within, I think Jack Kerrigan last night said he has one. He designed his home for his mother-in-law, where you can access that apartment via his home or externally. But it's all within the same roof structure.
This house is on pilings now. I mean, that address is, it's pilings. It's already put in. I don't understand how you're gonna do that. You'll have a mother-in-law suite below it.
Well, I guess they wanted, I guess they,
I didn't understand.
I'm confused when you said, where do they want to put? They just want to enclose the bottom?
Upstairs. So it will be a house on pylons with the main level being the first elevated level, and then the second elevated level would be 75% smaller, and that would be where the other unit would be.
Putting a second floor in the house.
That makes sense. So they're gonna.
Well, how does that affect the density?
Well, because there's two units within one structure on one piece of property.
Be like a duplex.
Similar to a duplex, it would meet the rules of the accessory dwelling unit, except for it doesn't meet density, and that's the big question: is that the intent?
Here's the rule I think we're focused on. It's the standards for accessory dwelling units. It says accessory dwelling units may be allowed in single-family homes, provided that all the following requirements shall be met. The first one is the addition of the accessory dwelling unit cannot exceed the density limitations of the overlying future land use category of the comprehensive plan. And density is units per acre. It's not the impervious surface. So I think Gina's correct that the way this is written, you need a large enough lot to accommodate more than one unit based on your category of land use.
But why is it a separate unit? If it's part of the home, it's under the roof of the house, right?
Yes, yes.
Well, why is that considered? Why is that a different unit? It's like an extra bed, it's a bedroom of the home.
Well, it's
It's an extra kitchen, it's an extra bathroom, it's a separate entrance. It is 100% separate from the main house. It's under the same roof, but it's 100% accessible without going through the main house.
It's not necessarily more space, but it's designed to accommodate more people because it has a separate kitchen and bathroom and everything.
So we're calling that then a separate unit.
That's the discussion we're having.
So that a house has two kitchens, but yet it's all on one roof. So that's why you're saying the density, because that unit.
But it isn't just two kitchens. You could have two kitchens, but that other kitchen is completely separate from the other portion of the house. You go through a different front door. They're completely
Can't
separate.
access it through the main house?
Can't access it through the main house.
So perhaps the discussion isn't necessarily what is the rule, it's what do you intend, because some of this is a little ambiguous. We can always clarify these rules if we need to. I think the way it's written, though, it's written as if you need to have enough acreage to allow 2 units in order to do this, but if that's not what anyone ever meant to do, we can cure that.
What if you could access it through the house?
Same thing. Still have two kitchens, two living units.
And this is just a single family zoning,
Yes. General residential.
single residential.
I think you could still access it from the house. I mean, they may go back to the way it's intended to be used, but I would think that just is just the way a house is designed. You have a roommate or a extended family there.
If you had the house on the stilts, the main house, and then you built the room below it, the extra house or the room below it, whatever you call it, I'm just thinking how, and then if it's made into 2 structures, and one of them can't be but 75, and And I know I know her, but I think she'll stay on the bottom and rent second for a while. I don't know what I'm trying to say about that.
So is she gonna build this in the attic space essentially? Or is it, they're gonna move the roof and build up?
Yeah, it's a complete second story.
So
pretty
put
much,
another
but just
roof
smaller.
on it. Put another roof on it, same size roof,
Right.
to cover the bottom.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, it's not a single family home.
Right.
Then it becomes not a single family home.
It's a duplex.
It's a duplex.
Well,
So I don't.
but it would meet the requirements of accessory dwelling unit, which is
Yeah, but what's the zoning category?
general residential.
I don't see how you can step outside of general residential
Right.
when it's a duplex. Because it doesn't, it appears that the way our accessory dwelling unit, law is written needs to be reworded or something. That's what I think. Because you have no idea what to do because of that particular writing of that. Is that right?
Well, the way it is written, she wouldn't be able to do it. I mean, that's
Right.
To me, that's my interpretation of it.
Except for
But
the other one.
Also, the way it's written, no one would ever be able to do it because it's only allowed in certain zones, but you have to meet density. So if you have to meet density, you can't do an accessory dwelling unit, and then why is it there?
Well, you could if you had a relatively large lot, right?
Yeah, but then you could do a duplex, or it would be separate. It could be a separate structure. It could be anything at that point.
Let me ask you something. What if they were going to put a second story on the house?
Then that would
No
be
no
no
problem.
problem.
No problem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're wanting to make a single family home a duplex.
Right.
I mean, that's the bottom line.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not allowed. Whether it be dense, even if it met density.
No, if it met density, it would be allowed.
In single family, low density?
It would be two lots that were combined.
They don't have two lots.
No.
No, they don't. But what she's saying is if you had the density, if you had two lots, you would have the density. Then you could build.
Not in residential low density, you can't.
This isn't residential low density. Right?
No, this is general residential.
So, yeah.
General residential.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
General residential.
Yeah, residential low density, none of this would be allowed.
Yeah, low density.
I'm sorry.
It's right on the table of uses. Accessory dwelling units are not allowed in low density.
Well, to me, for me, is what Darryl just said. It's a duplex.
It's gonna have a different address and everything.
I mean,
There's gonna be.
whether it has, it's
I'm just
a
saying, that's
separate unit.
even more.
For me, it's not the accessory dwelling unit. It's that I don't see that as an excess. I mean, it's changing.
What
Doesn't
is
meet
it?
the density. And I agree with I agree it's not allowed. By
What-
me.
Do we have a clarification on what an accessory is? An accessory dwelling unit?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How does that written?
There's a list of standards. I don't think there's one short, concise definition. The introduction says, just to give you an idea of the purpose. The purpose of this section is to provide for inexpensive housing units to meet the needs of handicapped, older, and low-income households, making housing units available to those who might otherwise have difficulty finding homes. The section is also intended to protect the property values. The standard section is really where you see the details of what's required, but there's, it's a page and a half long. It may be worth talking about after the mayor's comments, in your mind as a council, as the body that makes the laws, what do you see should be the difference between a duplex and an accessory dwelling unit? Because I'm not so sure it's clear cut what the differences really are, other than these size parameters must be met on the accessory dwelling units. The accessory unit has to be smaller.
Well, one of the things that separates it to me, and it's in the LDR, is that an accessory unit, if they were going to put a you can't put a detached living unit on your lot and call it an accessory structure.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. To me, that's what they're trying to do. Is under the same roof, but it's a dwelling unit that one that exceeds the density when they do that, because they can't do it detached.
Right.
So why should they be allowed to do it? Now, if you can't do it detached, why should we try to figure out a way that they can't do it under what they're trying to do? Why should we do that? It's clear they can't do it. Or I think it's clear. You think it's muddy?
I think that by having accessory dwelling unit in your LDR and a page and a half of stipulations and guidelines, when you can't actually do it ever, it seems to lead people to believe that they could do it, but they actually can't. You can't actually build an accessory dwelling unit on a single lot in general residential, but it leads you to believe that you could.
If you had an acre parcel, I'm not sure that there are any, but if you did have an acre parcel, you could do this, right?
Yeah, but you could also build a duplex or a detached unit. I mean, you could do any, at that point you could do anything. The intent seems to be for low-income mother-in-law situation, but you can't actually do
Well,
that.
Nick and I are probably the only two here that have the background of why that's written that way. I mean, we had months of discussion about the property over on 7th Street that led to all of this. Gina may have been here, I don't know, but they're very,
I think a lot of this language predates all of that, but I do think some of this was addressed and tweaked.
trying to figure out a way to make it work. So I'm not opposed to tweaking something, but I do agree that's a very valid point. If you can't do it, why is it written as if you can? Well, I know why I'm written that way, but that's here to there. That doesn't matter. That's why it's written that way. So, Nick, do we need to, or council, not Nick, I'm sorry, or we need to study that, think about it? That's the only time I'm aware that this actually come up.
It would be helpful, and what staff and I can do, we can just distribute the few pages from the code where this really is all addressed. Because at this point, I'm not sure what the city would want to do with these rules. But if we do have a whole section about accessory dwelling units that just basically is not needed, we should probably give some thought to whether to change that or delete it.
Right. And I'm speaking as if the council, which may not be the case at all, but I'm speaking as if we do not want to allow accessory dwelling units where someone can build a detached unit in their backyard and live in it. I mean, I'm making that assumption.
And our code doesn't talk about doing that. Everything about accessory dwelling units in our code is within the main structure of the house, the primary thing.
So a mother-in-law suite would be something totally different, would not fall under the accessory dwelling. If they built a mother-in-law suite and we accessed it from the house, it's part of that house, it's just a different.
That's an accessory dwelling unit.
Okay, so, for me personally, I'd like to have it broken down a little bit so we can look at it. I don't really understand enough about it to say what I think about it.
Well, maybe we just ought to get the LDR, review it, and give some direction of what we want to do and try to make it clear. I guess it's Gina's raised some valid points there.
So can we do that for the set that?
Sure,
next
yeah, we can
meeting?
just put that, make a, if
Let's
you
do
would,
that.
just put a, Tammy, put us the LDR, the section that pertains to that in the box, and we'll have it, and then we can put it on the agenda and say, okay, what do you think of that? Is that fair enough? Make an agenda item out of it?
That's
Okay.
good for me.
That sounds good. Going back on this one here, a two-story duplex is not a setback. Going back to the question.
Yeah, well, I know, that's, I think what, and her, Gina's point,
I know.
exactly, it's,
Yeah, this one didn't get over the density hurdle to begin with, unless you eventually want to look at changing the density
no, but
requirements.
if now, if it's gonna be, if we're rebuilding, maybe it's just time to make it, what's right, crystal clear. If that's possible.
Yeah, I just.
Go
Are
ahead.
there a few lots, I think the only ones that might even meet it are the ones like on First, is it First Street?
Yeah, First Street has.
There's some bigger lots that may just barely, and I would have to multiply it out, but I don't, other than that, I don't know of anywhere in the city where there's, where it would meet the density.
No. And I agree, that there's probably are. But, all right, we're gonna get a copy of the LDR, that section that pertains to accessory structures and dwelling units, put it in our boxes, everybody will have it, boom. Gina, what else you got?
That's it.
Okay. All right, number 4. Is that good with everybody? We ready to move on? Okay. Ordinance 762 is for a second reading. This is going to do with the code, special master. Do I have a motion to read by title only?
Motion to read ordinance number 762 by title only.
Second. Tammy, please read.
Ordinance 762, second reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to allow the city to compensate code enforcement special masters, providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Is there a motion for approval?
I make a motion for approval of ordinance number 762.
Second.
Have a motion second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so now that officially puts you, Mario, and code officer on some course of setting us up a schedule for the special map.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. All right, ordinance number 5 is ordinance 764. Do I have a motion to read? This is first reading. Do I have a motion to read by title only?
Make a motion to read by title only ordinance number 764.
Second.
A motion and a second. Before we read, a couple things that I wanted to, in the whereases, down number 1, 2, 3, under the 4th whereas, and it's nothing more than a typo, but it needs to be corrected. It says subsequently, the city determined that it would like to the city, I guess that's supposed to be like for the city administrator. As written, that's something about that doesn't make sense.
We'll have it corrected for.
You see that, it's just the sentence doesn't, under the 4th whereas. That's all. And the second thing, Nick, there is nothing in the language, or that I saw that was darkened in, that makes mention of non-conformity. Meaning that it has no, one of the things about a lot split, yes, it can be returned to its original platted boundaries, but it can't have a non-conformity on it. And I missed it, and that may be in there, but I read it twice, I don't see it.
I tried to address that. It says it may be approved by the city administrator so long as the lot split would not result in either lot or the improvements located on them being in violation of the City of Mexico Beach Comprehensive Plan Land Development Code. And in my mind, the idea there is you.
Well, it does say the improvements located on it, so that's true, okay. They can't, I didn't, so if there are improvements, they cannot result in a non-conformity.
If there's an improvement that creates a violation.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, we have a motion and a second. Please read. I'm sorry.
Ordinance 764, first reading. An ordinance of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, amending the Land Development Code to allow the city administrator to approve certain lot splits that involve going back to the lot boundaries shown on a recorded plat. Providing for codification, repealing ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict, providing for severability and an immediately effective date.
Thank you. That will go on our next regular meeting. All right, moving on. Number 6 is Resolution 21-24. Is there a motion to read the title only? Has to do with the continuation of the Bay County Sheriff's Office.
Make a motion to read resolution 21-24. Title only.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any opposition to reading? Please do so.
Resolution 21-24, a resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving the attached agreement with the Sheriff of Bay County to continue law enforcement services in the City of Mexico Beach for an additional year.
Motion to adopt.
Make a motion to adopt resolution 21-24.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Call the roll, please.
Mayor Patrick?
Yes.
Mr. Pollock?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 7 is Resolution 21-25. Before we read or after read, is that the same? Is it the same as last year, or is it changed any?
I believe it's the same there.
Dollar amount?
I'll verify that, but I believe it is.
It's not less. Tommy, do you know?
Is this for the highway light?
I don't know. I just. Well, it's called the lighting, but it really is, it's state right of way, isn't it? I mean, it's for maintaining the right of way. Right. Because they list all
Yeah, well,
the, yeah.
I thought that was pretty nice. I didn't know we had a list of them.
But do we have anything, are we agreeing to equal to or more than what we have?
Over there.
It's 11,000, I could get right at $1,000 more.
Yeah, it's not much, Mayor. It's like very little per square foot, but that's what we've always done.
Oh, I know we have. I just didn't know, I didn't know if they were following the same.
That sounds right from what it was last time we were.
Okay. All right. I don't mind reading it, but I'd like to know what it is. I don't mind approving it, or you want to take it.
If you would approve it and allow me to verify that it's the same
Equal to.
or more.
We're just motioning that. We move on.
And is that light picking up and everything else? Taking care of right away?
Yes, the right of way, yeah. Yeah, that's all it is.
Okay.
Most of the work we do is really down on the other end. I mean, we cut it. We cut it, but we also cut it all the way down.
Yeah, we go a little beyond, you know, we cut down technically where the welcome sign is, but we usually go a little bit past that just so it looks good coming in, kind of a little above and beyond what we normally do. But that sounds like that's in line what Department of Transportation, it's not a lot of money, but we do get a little bit to maintain that all the way through the
All right.
If you decline this money, the state would come through here 3 times a year to mow the grass.
That's right.
So,
No, the money, I don't want it to have been 15,000 and they offered us 11.
sure.
That's all I
Yeah,
want.
no,
That's all I want to know. If we can motion it with verification that it's equal to or more than, then that's all that, I totally agree. We want to keep our right of ways looking good.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be equal to, Mayor. I think that's what they've been doing.
Okay. Well,
Say it though.
go ahead. If you don't, yeah.
You got it down, you
I don't care.
go ahead, you said it was steady.
I make a motion, we read resolution, we gotta read it by time only, 2125.
With,
If you would, please amend it to say that, to verification that it's equal to or
So
more
we're not
than
just
last
reading
year's
it, we're
contract.
going ahead and doing it. Okay, so I make a motion that we approve resolution 2125 with the understanding that we have time to review it and make sure that it's appropriately the same as it was in the previous year. That's a long way of saying it.
Close to that. All right, we got a motion.
I second.
We got a motion second. Ms. Tammy, please read.
Mayor Kathy?
No,
Oh,
need
we're
to
gonna-
read it.
Again, okay. Resolution 2125. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, approving the state highway lighting maintenance and compensation agreement for fiscal year 2021 to 2022.
Is there a motion to approve?
I make a motion we approve.
I'll second.
Call the roll, please.
Okay. Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
We can't get you confused, man.
Ooh.
Yeah, amen.
Is she? Bet.
All right, number 8 is vote, resolution 2126, which deals with the boat ramp. Before we do that, is everyone comfortable with what we're doing? You see the schedule, just so we all know what we're talking.
I'm comfortable with it.
This week. We made it some money, but I believe we got to talk some. I'm very pleased.
I'm good with it.
I'm good.
Okay, motion to read resolution 2126.
I make a motion. Go ahead, sir.
No, you go ahead.
I make a motion to read resolution 2126.
All right, there's a second. Motion second, please read.
Resolution 2126. A resolution of the City of Mexico Beach, Florida, establishing fees associated with the CV Marina, Canal Park, and the city boat ramp, and providing an immediately effective date.
Motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt resolution 2126.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Mayor Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. Nick, do you have anything?
I do not.
No? Mr. Administrator, you're up.
Yes, sir, Mayor. We're having some issues with our security system within the city, and Bay County, who's providing free services for us, recommends that we go with the 3-year option. It is for $7,980.50. This is re-upping a program that we already have. They're making the recommendation, and I just wanted to make sure you all were okay that we're going to execute a 3-year extension to our current contract.
And what's it for?
It's security for our computer system.
And Bay County looks after it anyway.
That's within your, well, you want
If you break it out over
break
3
it out over
years.
3
yeah.
years, that's what I guess we're gonna pay it though, it's a 3-year payout. Whether you want a motion, well, why don't we just make it clear, what's the dollar amount again?
$7,980.50.
Okay.
Is that annually or total?
That is total for the 3 years.
That's a 3-year. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion, we approve the security, system for $7,980.50.
Second.
Have a motion second. Any discussion? Call the roll.
Mayor Katz?
Yes.
Mr. Pollitt?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Ms. Call?
Yes.
Mr. Key?
Yes.
What else?
I have an item, I've not brought it up, a bunch of stuff going on. The antenna that we have over here on the back of our site, it's approximately 50 by 50. I believe this has been brought to the council before, that the antenna company would like to buy the property 3 or 4 years back for $100 and something thousand. They sent me a letter offering for a permanent lease. Not a purchase of the property, but a permanent lease.
So they call it an
An
easement.
I'm sorry, not a lease, an easement, a permanent easement to the tune of $317,000. At this point, it's sounding like a pretty good deal there.
Did we get how much?
The way that the lease is written, if it ever stops being used as an antenna site, it reverts back to the city.
And what do we get per month for that?
One lump sum, $317,000.
I'm talking about now.
Oh, right now it's about $1,000 a month.
Takes a long time to get $300,000.
It is a far better deal than what we have right now. What we have right now, we get $1,000 for forever.
Yeah.
This is, they buy it out, and once they've got that, it's 300, it's a major chunk of money.
The current lease is $1,500 a month with an annual CPI adjustment, so you may be at $1,600. We can do the math, figure out the years, saves, balance that out, and pass for their proposals like this. It makes sense, but with the city's financial condition, you may want to consider it more closely this time.
It would take 211 payments. So divide that by 12, it would take 17 and a half years to equal the 370.
What does that antenna do? What does that do for them? I mean, what company, okay, cell tower?
I like,
say go for
and I'm telling you, I'm thinking about it, the easement, so they hard to, if we ever want to do something about easement, it's really hard, and Nick could probably.
Well, an easement is just like selling land
Yes.
for all intents and purposes.
To me, I definitely would tell the company people, and that you can get that, you can lease it, well, I know we do it now, but that's real cheap. I'm not into the easement. I would like to keep the leasing for more money. That's me personally speaking, because I know how easement is. It's this easement, they got it, and then it can ease on down for years, and then you can't do nothing with it.
Yeah, you would want to consider this easement like selling the land.
Yes,
There's
that's
possibility
exactly
to get
right.
back, and there
But
are
that's a lot
some
of money.
technical differences, but this, in my mind, is more like they're proposing to purchase the property, but they have tax and technical reasons for just wanting to treat it as an easement instead of a regular purchase.
Where is it exactly?
That antenna. Right next to the water tower, or tank. It's 300-foot tall antenna.
Okay, so I see the guide wires.
It's been there.
It is $300 and something thousand for a 50 by 50 lot. It's a pretty high comp for if it were a land sale.
It's currently tied up in lease for quite a while, so it's not.
Well, my feeling is we're not going anywhere. The city's gonna be here. If we get $1,600 a month, or whatever it is, we control what we control.
Amen.
And it's right there in our backyard. And
Don't want to lose control.
somebody in 17 years will thank us for not doing it.
Yeah. That's me. You can't work on that.
But anyway, no, I don't know, do we ever, I mean, is it, do we ever negotiate the lease? Is it an annual lease?
They tried to negotiate the lease when I first got here, and they wanted to reduce the fee, and I told them that the city was not interested in reducing the fee.
Oh, cool.
And
Well, we want to negotiate, we want to raise it.
in 2015, they approached us, and I think their main goal was to get more years on their lease, and we negotiated the rates up. We've got a lump sum and increase.
And when?
2015. Got a $15,000 lump sum payment and increased the rent to $1,500 a month. It was originally less than $1,500.
Okay. Well, anybody else got a comment?
Well, mine, you get $1,500 a month, it's gonna fill it here, fill there, fill it here. You get $300,000, you can do something with it. And I will say within the next 10 years, you're not gonna use cell tower anyway. It's gonna be all satellites. So, I'm basically getting the money.
Okay. Well, we can go around the table, we can make a motion.
I'm not in favor of it. I mean, I went through it one time and I didn't, you can't do nothing. It's like Nick said, that's just like selling land, even though it's around your property, it's not your property. And you cannot break that easement. I don't care how much money you spend.
Well, Bobby's got a valid point, but I also think it's a better point that I just don't want to lose control of something that's right here in our number. So, personally.
My suggestion wouldn't be to try to decide yes or no on the approval, but it'd be to decide whether you want to see the real paperwork, come back to you at the next meeting and look at this for a real decision. But if you're not interested at all, there's no reason to do that.
All right, so Darryl, I paraphrasing, you're not for
Correct.
the lease.
Right.
Okay. Sharon, you got a,
I am not for it either.
okay, then let's move
We
on.
need to hold on to what we got.
All right, let's move on. What else you got? Well, I've got a couple things for you, just a question. And council, RFQ on the credit card machine, do we want to pursue that? We want to put out an RFQ so that we can make a decision?
I still want to know the money.
Huh?
I want to know the money. I want to know how much it costs.
Do we know?
Well, I know, but that would must be one cost. We need.
We don't even know what his cost is. I don't.
Let's just assume for all intents and purposes that it's $10,000. Just,
Okay.
and I don't want to say that that's his bid, because once I open his
Right.
bid, then
Yeah.
nobody else can bid. So assume for budgetary reasons that it's a $10,000 expenditure.
But my point being, we need to authorize an RFP or Q, I don't know which, is it for
P.
P, okay?
P is
So
full
that,
price.
so that everyone has an opportunity that's out there, that's in this business to see it, that can submit. I don't know if we need at that depth of presentation.
No.
But we can, at least we can get everybody, if there's others out there. But I think we should, is everyone comfortable to go ahead and issue an RFP? And let's see what's out there.
Quicker the better.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of that.
And I like the idea too, but not for him, but what I've been looking at, what little I've been doing with it, they could pay the boat slip rent. They could pay, that would take a lot of it off the city and everybody else if we could get it. And
Our boat ramp is gonna be, it is now, but as we move forward, that boat ramp is going to be a busy, sought after, and if we got something down there that's state of the art, then more power to it. So I think it's time to look at that.
I'm in favor of what you said.
So RFP, we'll move forward tomorrow, you can get that out, how long, what, 30 days, 10 days?
I got to get the technical data to figure out how to even put it out there, but
Well, St. Joe can help us. I mean, if they just did it.
So are we looking at one machine for the boat ramp? Is that it? And then you want he was talking about different parameters of that price. Do you want it to take dollar bills and coins or just credit cards?
I'd say credit cards.
Just credit cards. The
I
dollar,
like the idea of no cash.
yeah,
I do too.
the dollar bill is a nightmare because there will be somebody that has a wet dollar bill and it discombobulates the whole machine, so please.
But I'm like y'all, I don't know how you would write it up, but I don't know the technical.
Me and you.
Well, I mean, I listened, but I didn't.
No,
I just want to know the time. I don't know how to build what.
Well, we still need to figure out what kind of features we want to give. I did like the idea that it would give stickers. I don't think we necessarily need one for the boat. We just give a sticker for the cars for a permanent pass.
We'll do the annual pass and the day.
And the day pass.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
You have to have that.
So, but it produces you a sticker for the annual pass that you put on your vehicle or something?
We give it a sticker, which is probably our current sticker, and it just
Yeah.
spits it out. I mean, it's just a
Okay, cool.
sticker splitter.
Hey, let's just get them flowing. We need that.
All right. So we're gonna come up with that. And the other one is, have we done anything about debris removal? You were going
The
to
demolition of the
demolition of the, yeah. Have we done anything?
We finally located the orders from our special master hearings. Compared to our code, I'm comfortable we can proceed based on those orders. At first, they looked a little too brief. It was concerning. But connecting all the citations to our code, we can proceed. We have not prepared or advertised our RFP yet. We'll do that now.
Okay. Because we were gonna get those 2 units, we were gonna look at what it was gonna cost to have them torn down. We're talking big up here, but we don't know what kind of money it's going.
But we got enough.
All right, so now we can do that. All right, so can you put that on the list? Okay. Council comments?
Mario put a thing in here about the SJ estuary program.
Oh, yeah, you're part of that program, and that you don't receive emails, so I can give you a copy of that.
Yeah, I do. I'm on there.
Okay.
I'm Captain Key. They put me at the top.
Okay. Just
All right, they don't talk to me. But here's, I just wanted to give you a brief update. I've sat through some Zoom meetings. And they're quite long, and they're not getting anywhere. Because it's taken them forever just to figure out and get a board of directors and whatever. So not much has been done. We haven't even talked about any kind of projects that we're going to do or any of those kinds of things. I've made some recommendations that I think is important. If you guys have anything that you would like for me to bring up, you need to let me know that so that in the next Zoom meeting I can let them know. One of the things that I'll tell you what my major problem was with St. Joe Bay was during scallop season, if we don't do something to control how these people are running over the grass, we're not going to have a St. Joe that's usable. It's going to be a mud basin. Because if you keep cutting that grass for your crops during scallop season, that grass don't go back very quickly. And that's the reason that Florida Bay is a mud hole now, because all the grass has died out due to other issues, but it's the same thing. The Keys instituted crop damage in grass areas. They put an extremely high fine on it per square inch, and they didn't really have to ever fine but 2 or 3 people. And everybody said, we're not going to do that again. So if we don't do something, that bay will go away. Because everybody's been there, they know how many prop cars are there now. And you can watch people doing it during scallop season and they're chewing it up. I thought that was incredibly important that we address that somehow through this program. So if you got anything else, let me know. I'll let me know.
And I do too.
Yeah.
So I support it.
Okay.
That.
Okay.
That's good. All right. Anything else?
That was it.
Sherry, you got anything?
I'm good.
Bobby?
Good.
I got a little bit, not much. Not much. Not much. Tommy and his crew did I want y'all to understand, walked into that fish cooler Saturday morning. The smell was unbearable. And their crew washed them and cleaned them and unloaded them. That's a job that maybe we could give somebody else. Somebody didn't ask me. It's bad, but they did a wonderful job one time, and he ought to be commended for what he did. And and our police department helped me out at 3:30 in the morning. Marty's men did. And Mario come. We had the EMT man out there. I didn't know we had I know we had him, but he was the captain, and he was there sort of looking out for us. And last but not least was Kat. She ramrodded the show without her because we parked 151 boats, and I left at 10:50. That was enough for me. And they were still coming in. But we didn't make it to where they parked the cars. But what we did, our new parking lot made it bigger. It really, it helped us. If we could just, I don't know how we're going to do it, but we need that 3 acres. Like for this weekend, that would really, and I know we're a long way from it, but we need to step up that game.
It's on the, I mean, it's given to us, it's just that there's a lot of expense in getting it prepared.
I was, and that's what I'm just bringing it up. We might get some donations, or get some people that would clean it up, or do what we got to do. Because they've been asking me, and I've been pushing it, trying to. And they said,
"Do we have a survey of that property? I mean, do we have all that?"
So
let me check with the St. Joe company.
Because I bet you if we get some donations, that somebody might want to do some cleaning.
Cleaning. That's what I'm saying.
That's a start.
That's a start, and when we could.
Does that retaining area?
That's on the other side of the road. On the other side of the road.
Back besides that back right there in the corner, but now we could, that 3 acres, we could, like this event coming up, this Skywalker, we could park some vehicles there and
Well,
walk.
why don't you check, Mark, see if we have something that defines what it is, if we get run across somebody.
Well, we just one or two of that, and they would help us clean it up or whatever we got to do, what we can do to get started.
Well,
Get an acre. Get something.
It's a tremendous area too to do boat trailer parking.
Yes.
To make sure that's the actual designated boat trailer parking, and then we could put a fee for boat parking, trailer parking, in our new machine we're going to get. Well, I mean, you know.
There you go.
I didn't go there. Yeah, that's all I
There's
was saying.
You got anything else?
No, Trump.
I do want to echo, I went over there and looked at the boat ramp. Y'all, everybody else done wonderful.
They did.
It was laid out beautiful. It was great.
Did a great job.
David, let me tell you, David, he did do something, believe it or not. He did do something. I mean, he draws.
You stayed too long.
But we've been fighting this how to park these vehicles, and the way I done it last year, he come over there, you know, whatever he is, and he did. I was proud of him. He did 116, even though we got 151. But he did help. He did all right. So, I'm proud of everybody.
I think he's going to take that as a compliment. I'm not sure. I think he.
And North Florida's really been a lot of help to us too.
All right.
I'm through.
Motion adjourned. Thank everybody.